Number 5, you're playing with too much reverb. I'm playing with too much reverb. We all are, aren't we? So here's what you should do. Play with like half the amount that you used to, maybe even a quarter. In fact, maybe just try playing with no reverb. And here's the reason why. Because when you play with reverb, it's going to hide so much of your playing. It's going to hide your mistakes. It's going to hide your intonation. It's going to hide actually like the tension that you have in your hand. It's going to be a blanket that like will shield you from the honest truth, the cold, hard truth that we all need to hear. Listen to this huge difference. So much better, right? I can hear my notes ending. I can hear the pick attack. I can hear where I'm pressing too hard and I'm going out of tune, right? Like right there, I like missed it a little bit. Try it. Number 4, and this is a two-parter, you're playing with too much vibrato on your chords, right? A lot of guys, including me, we're putting way too much vibrato on it. Just try playing some chords without any vibrato, okay? Really? Isn't that nice? That's nice and calm. That's nice and in control. That's what we want. That's the biggest change you'll have from going from a beginner to an intermediate. More control, more intent, more aware of what your hands are doing, okay? And second part of that, do not use too much vibrato when you're playing the tonic, the root note. Let me show you why. Let's say we're playing blues in A. And I'll hear guys, and I did this too, you'll bend the root note a half step up, right? And now that is not in the scale. Now there's many places on the fretboard that you can do that, right? I don't recommend doing it all the time, but you can get away with it on other notes because you're kind of bending into a note that's on a blues scale or Mixolydian scale or even Dorian scale. You're bending it into something that is acceptable. It is very rare that you'll be able to bend like that. Just be aware of what you're doing, okay? When you're doing your bends, you're doing your vibratos, your wild vibratos. Try doing it without any vibrato or just like a slight vibrato, a violin vibrato like this. Or do the whole guitar shake, right? Just don't that. And if you can't hear it, that's okay. You got to start somewhere. Just try to hear that like you're bending it into a note that is not acceptable for that scale, okay? Number 3, you need to use more space, more rests, okay? You're playing too many notes too often. Music is so much about carrying people's attention, right? Making people interested. What's the next note going to be? Where is he going to take this song? Where is he going to take this solo? And the way you can capture someone's attention, especially, this is not just music, this is just talking to someone, engaging with someone. You pause, right? You pause, and someone is going to wait for the next word. Same thing with music. And so start throwing that into your solos if you're soloing, okay? This is actually a bonus tip, so it's not really tip number 2, but play with less gain. I played with way too much gain for way too long. No one told me, and I realized that you will just have more power, more control, but most importantly, you'll be able to hear what you're playing, because having a lot of gain, overdrive, and distortion, that does 2 things. 1, it compresses your signal, so you're not going to get as much pick attack, and you're not going to hear all the dynamics of your touch, right? If you're playing quietly, you're playing loud, it's all going to sound like the same thing. Now, the other thing that it does is that it will take away your tone. You will not know the tone in your hand, in your fingers, in your pick, all these things that make you're playing if you're playing with gain on all the time. Now, I'm not saying get rid of your distortion pedals. Keep them. Distortion pedals are cool. But start practicing and start trying to play with as little as gain possible while you're still able to carry across your creative vision, your artistic vision, whatever you're going for, okay? Start playing with less gain. You'll be surprised at what you hear and what you start to play. The real tip number 2 is actually playing less. And I don't mean play less notes. I mean, stop playing every string. When I first started playing guitar, I played with every string. When I saw them in the tabs, I'm like, okay, G chord, here we go. Full G chord, every single string. I gotta play it all. It says to play it all, so I should play it all. What I didn't realize, I wasn't using my ear. And if I used my ear, I would be like, that's plenty of notes. And if there's anyone else in a band, if there's another guitarist, or keyboardist, I don't need to play every note. I can just play 3, maybe 2. Again, like you have more control over the sound coming out of your amp, because when I'm playing every note like this, that's covering like a huge EQ spot, right? And the listener, the person who's out in your audience cheering for you, can probably not hear every note you're playing. So can you get by with playing less? You can probably play just this. The 5 and the 3, right? And if you want to, maybe the bassist doesn't have a big, massive low end. You can give him that. Now maybe your bassist is, so you can do... So instead of playing every note like that, where you're taking up a huge EQ spectrum, just try to play 3 notes if you can. I'm not saying invent new chords. All you got to do is pick the notes that you want to play. Usually a root, a fifth, and a third will cover it, right? And tip number 1, play with other people. This is so important no matter what skill level you're at, because when you play with other people, you get to see if you can really hang, right? All those skills you practiced at home, sharpening your blade in the middle of the night, right? Now you get to see if it can actually cut, right? So practice at home, practice very hard at home, and then go to a jam session, go join someone else's band, see if you can sit in, do whatever it takes to be able to play with other people that are pretty close to your skill level. Ideally, you want everyone to be better than you, because if you're the worst person in the room, that means you're going to get better just by being around everyone, right? You don't want to be the best player in the band, because you're not going to improve as a player in any single way, in any meaningful way. It's really hard to. And when you're playing with other people, just relax, try to have fun, try to be a good listener, and try to just play your best. You probably won't. I never do, and that's okay. It's music, right? We're getting graded on a long curve by ourselves, by no one else. No one will remember what you and I play, right? And so that's okay. That should take all the pressure off. It's a huge relief. Thanks again for watching, guys. My name's Alex, and I'll see you out there on the internet.